investors.
I am here with the Property Challenge podcast.
I teach investors all around the world how to become real estate investors and
how to overcome their challenges. Join me here every single week. PCP, the Property Challenge podcast.
When I started this podcast and when I said, what am I going to talk about? I said the best name is
the Property Challenge.
Hey, welcome back, investors, to another episode of the Property Challenge podcast with your host, me, Terrica Lynn Smith. And y'all have been showing so much love with our YouTube channel. You guys are loving this information. And every week you come back, I need for you to do me a favor. I need for you to click the like button and I need you to subscribe. And then I need you to share with 3 people, if it really, really blessed you, 3 people that you want to get started with real estate investing, real estate building, whatever it is, however you want to get started, or you just want to share some information. Share it with 3 people that you think that this would impact. So my DMs have been flooded with questions about negotiations. And there is so much fear that goes on with the word negotiation. Like, so many people really fear negotiating. And I really want to kind of get to the root of that, because negotiation is simply having a conversation. Now, for some of you, you may be like, I hate challenging conversations. It make my skin crawl. And then there's some of you that's like me who love having challenging conversations and do not mind a good debate. Well, today's episode is geared towards those who are fearful with the word no, and who is fearful with rejection, and who is fearful with negotiations. Because if we're being truthful, a lot of the times as a real estate investor, we have to start from the very beginning, like the basics of real estate. And the basics sometimes requires you to cold call. Now, cold call is where you pick up the phone, you call in complete strangers, you have no relationships with them, and you're asking them to do business with them. A warm call is somebody you kind of know, a referral of a referral, and that person is more likely to say yes to you because you came through someone that they know. A hot referral is a direct contact directly to you, and it's super easy to negotiate because y'all know each other and you don't have to do this dancing where you dancing around the questions and things like that. So when you're doing a cold call, though, it can be very intimidating because you're looking to ask for an opportunity, but you don't want to seem desperate, but you also don't want to seem like a car salesman. And so it's walking that fine line of being able to negotiate and not sound sleazy, and negotiate and not be pushy, but also negotiate for an opportunity for you to be in a good position and for the seller to possibly be in a good position. I find great negotiations comes together when 2 people have a common need and you both come with a solution and it's resolved. That's a great negotiation moment. And so the first thing I want to share with you guys is a scripture from Romans 8:31. So before you pick up the phone, before you make any phone calls, I want you to have this scripture near and dear. It's Romans 8:31 at the Message translation. It says, if God is for us, who can be against us? Now, we say that in light quite often because it's like, if God is for us, who can be against us? And we say it where we don't really know the meaning and the power behind it. But if you are on a God assignment, and every assignment God gives you is important, He does not hand out assignments that's not important. So if you're truly doing God's assignment, if you're doing the work God has called you to do, if God is for you, then who can be against you? So whenever I'm getting ready to cold call or pick up the phone and have to have a conversation and I don't know the person, I already know that God is for me. So it don't matter how this conversation take place, God goes before me and I know God got me. Now, if you're a non-believer, I don't know who got you, okay? But for those of us who do believe in God, we know that if God is for us, then who could be against us? So one of the first teaching points that I want to talk about is fear of hearing no keeps you silent. So if you're saying, hey, Coach T, I want to be a wholesaler, Well, with wholesaling, you got to make a lot of calls. You got to put in a lot of legwork. Don't let people mislead you and make you think it's so easy to make money in wholesaling. No, wholesaling, you got to have two different lists. You got to have a buyer's list. That means people that's ready, willing, and able to buy right now. And you got to have a seller's list, people who's ready, willing, and able to sell right now. Now, building a seller list is a lot more challenging than it is a buyer's list. You see, a buyer can see the potential value in what you have for them. Most investors are going to be your buyers. So it's super easy to ask an investor for an email address to say, hey, I'm going to send you over a deal where you can make 30, 40, 50, 60% return. Versus a seller who's selling their property, they may be a little bit more guarded. And so that's where you're going to hear more of your no's from, is going with the seller position, because the sellers always think somebody is out to get them. Somebody's trying to scam them. Like, they just have every reason in the world to be difficult. And you're going to get some really nasty sellers that may hang up in your face. But I tell you this, as long as they're not on the do not call list, I will blow their phone up. If you have a raggedy property in the hood and you ain't taking care of it, it is my responsibility as an investor to let you know your property is raggedy and you're not taking care of it. The reason why is because, one, it's a hazard in the community, and then two, you don't care about the property, so why wouldn't you sell it, right? And so when I'm calling these sellers, I'm not calling from a position of, hey, give me a handout. I'm calling from the position of, hey, I have an opportunity for you. I see that your property is abandoned. The grass is overgrown. I see that you have a few tax liens on the property as well. What I'll be willing to do is pay off those tax liens, get the lawn care cut as soon as possible, and enter into a buy and sell agreement where I can buy this property from you and take it off of your hands. You see how I took authority with that phone call, that conversation? When you let them know the problem that they have, they already know their problem. They just have to be reminded of it. So when I'm cold calling, I'm not thinking I'm going to hear no, because I'm going to do enough research to know exactly what I'm talking about with this property. The reason why a lot of you cannot negotiate is because you're lazy. You don't put in the work to figure out what is this seller financial position. The reason why I know that this property has tax liens is because I went and did my research. The reason why I know the grass is overgrown is because I went and rode by it. The reason why I know these different things is because I have did the research and I done put in the time to know that this seller is in a bind. A lot of the times people come off, like this virtual wholesaling, like, I'm not going to knock it, but I would never encourage anybody to buy a property that they have not seen. I have had people in my coaching program who have bought a property that they have not seen. They end up going to the property and the property do not have no back. It's literally the front facing, period. There's it. There's no back walls or anything like that. And so you end up getting a shell. Like when the student that's in my program, she said, I opened up the door and then I can see straight through the back door. I'm like, the back door? She said, yes. Like literally the house, it had no back. So all you seen was like the sides, and they took really great pictures. They just didn't take a back angle view towards the house. But she ended up buying this property for $5,000 and it was scheduled to be demolished. Of course it's scheduled to be demolished. It's a half of a house. It's barely even standing. A strong wind come through here, a tropical storm come through here, it's gone. So she was in a very unique position. But what I told her was, thank God you only spent $5,000 for this. That's the cost of tuition. You paying for something and not going to see it would never happen again. Because why? You had this experience. And so when it gets to the point of negotiations, I'm going to do all my due diligence to make sure that this seller knows that I know what I'm talking about with this property. I will outperform anyone that is around me when it comes to these properties. There is not one property around that somebody's going to know more about than me. I was having a conversation with our COO today, and he mentioned a community. It's my responsibility to know what's going on in this community. I don't care how busy I am. I don't care how many shows I record. I don't care how many times I travel, how many times I'm flying. It is my business to know what's going on in this market that I'm in. That means I'm constantly searching the market. I'm on LoopNet, I'm on Crexy, I'm on auction.com, I'm on lacdb.com, I'm on realtor.com. I am on all of the major sites. I am combing the internet for the opportunities that I know that I need to know are out there. So for instance, when there's a price reduction or something aligns more with my investing criteria, I'm already 2 to 3 steps ahead. And so what I want to encourage you is that before you pick up the phone and even cold call, because if you cold call me and you don't know about my property, I'm probably going to tell you no. I want to challenge you. I want to encourage you to go and do your research. Go and put in the work. Yeah, you can make 10, 15, 20, 30. You can make 1,000, 5,000. You can make any type of money you want off of wholesaling. But if you do it right, you can create what we call a successful wholesaling business. So then the next thing I'll talk about is negotiation is simply solving a problem. I heard Magic Johnson say it like this: in order to be a billionaire, you have to solve 1 million people problem. Like what? In order to be a billionaire, you have to be able to solve 1 million people problem. Like 1 million people have to have this problem for you to solve it. So some of you are solving $5 problems. Some of you are solving $100,000 problem. I'm trying to solve $1 million problem. I'm trying to participate in this gap of I'm trying to participate and close the gap of home affordability. That is a huge market. And if we take our project and use it as a catalyst for other communities and show other communities how they can build affordable housing without using subsidy, without receiving $1 from the government, then we would be able to have properties and communities throughout the United States. So my goal is to be able to like take that housing gap and shrink it as much as I possibly can. Why? Because I believe ownership is for you. And in order for me to have $1 billion in assets under management, I have to solve 1 million people problem. When he said that, I was like, wow. The second thing he said in that same conversation, which I thought was phenomenal, was that he said the same amount of time it takes to make $100,000 is the same amount of time it takes to make $1 million. The same amount of time it takes to make $1 million is the same amount of time it takes to make $1 billion. But listen, the same amount of time it takes to make $1 billion is the same amount of time it takes to make $1. You got to choose which problem you're solving. Where are you allocating your time? You see, some of us are starting investors, so we're going to start at the very bottom, at the very basic, and that's 1,000% okay. Some of us are very experienced and we're looking to get over that 50 million threshold. We want to cross that 50 million mark. That right there, to me, requires for you to be solving problems that are an issue within the community, but also a gap that the government and that investors are looking to solve together. So pick where you place your time. But when you're problem solving, right, if I can solve a problem for you, then I have an opportunity for you. But if I can't solve your problem, then I don't have an opportunity for you. Do you know the reason why most people sell these distressed properties is because of their financial position? They don't even think, oh, I inherited this property. I can go to the bank and I can ask the bank to leverage it, give me the funds to fix it up and go fix up the property. A lot of people don't think like that because they're so consumed with the problem. Now, here I come along and now, guess what? It's time to negotiate. I see you have a problem with your finances. I would like to help with that. How do I know they have a problem with their finances? Because look at the property. It's a wreck. If you were not having financial issues, that property will be well maintained and you will be active on the market. But because you got so many financial problems in front of your face, you can't really pay attention to the things that are not within your household. So this property was just an inherited property that grandma left behind. The problem is, and this is for somebody, we need to stop selling grandma's house. We got to stop selling grandma's house and hustling backwards. Because if I'm being truthful with you, if we had more people investing, then we would be able to control more of the market share. But you got trillion-dollar companies like Blackstone and BlackRock who is buying up communities, single-family properties, like hundreds of thousands of homes at a time. There's no way to really compete with that unless all of the smaller investors come together and start increasing their buying power and start taking back the territories that these trillion-dollar companies is trying to come in and impose. Do you know? This is such a great, this is like such great information. Like I want you guys to write this down. I was watching a series and I forgot what it was on, but they start talking about the Dollar Generals and how each Dollar General, if you pull up a map, each Dollar General in regards to their proximity creates a triangle. And so the triangle is a 3-point location. And so at every point, they have to have a Dollar General. I'm like, yo, these people, number one, they're just smart. Okay, that's like brilliant, right? But number two, you mean to tell me they take a map and it's not an area map, it is a street map, meaning that they are looking at the streets and then they zoom out to be able to say, okay, we don't have a Dollar General here. We have one here. They have to be within a certain proximity. And then what they're doing is connecting their triangle points. I thought that was freaking amazing. So now what I know is one thing is, because I did my research on Dollar General, if they're doing this triangle model that they was showing on Netflix or whatever, if they are doing this triangle model, that means I could potentially look and see where they don't have Dollar Generals at. And now I can become the representative who now understands that they have this threefold triangle. And if it's missing one dot, they're going to do everything they can to get that dot connected. Do you know that these stores are operating at a loss? That blew my mind. You mean to tell me not only, see, when you think of Dollar General, I need for you to think of the Founders Play, which is the McDonald's movie. They was not in the burger business. They was in the real estate business. Everywhere you look, there was a McDonald's on your corner. When you go in the hood, the neighborhoods, the ghettos, all the stuff they call it, right? There's a Dollar General literally within 5 miles of each other, like clockwork. Go around the corner, go here, go there. What's crazy is they come in and they're plants. So they lose money for the first few years just to put the small businesses, the mom and pops in the area, out of business. And once they put them out of business, they increase their prices and then they take the market share. It's the same model Amazon did. It's the same model Walgreens did. It's the same model that Dollar General did. It's the same model that, McDonald's. Look, Burger King tried to copy McDonald's. Cane's, which is Raising Cane's, they came in with the same play. They understood that this was a real estate play. So the more locations you have, they believe the more traffic they can get, and they're going to be cheaper than their competitor. I don't know if you guys noticed it or not, but Raising Cane prices went up. It's just what it is. Dollar General pricing went up. Dollar Tree went up 25%. So what they're doing is they're targeting these low income communities and placing these type of stores there. Now, you want to know what's funny? Starbucks, in order for a Starbucks to come into your area, you have to have a certain amount of revenue that is happening within that particular area. They have experts who study our markets like the back of their hands. And so if it don't generate enough revenue, they're not coming. Another one is Walmart. They'll decide if they're going to place a Walmart in the area and or a Walmart marketplace, which is the smaller Walmarts. Again, it has to make sense. So when Walmart come, I don't know if you guys pay attention to this, but when Walmart come, they put everybody that's a small business out of business. So if you have a Walmart coming to your area and you're a mom and pops, you need to figure out a way very quickly how to pivot. How do I get down this rabbit hole? It's simply going back. Dollar General seen a problem, they solved it, and now because they have so many locations, they're untouchable. Can I tell you something else? A lot of the Dollar Generals, right? A lot of the Dollar Generals, they own a lot of their land. So they'll typically sell the entire store, the business, and the land together. But Walmarts, they do what's called long-term land leases. And guess what? They find these rural properties with the revenue in the area that they know they need, and they come put the small business owners out of business because guess what? They got produce, they got pharmacy, they got everything, right? And mom and pops typically don't have A to Z. They probably have A to E, but not A to Z. And so with that, Walmart understands how to problem solve. Dollar General understands how to problem solve. We have to be able to problem solve. So when I'm looking at acquiring property, I'm not just buying it. I'm not just looking for the health of me. I'm looking because I'm looking to solve a problem. So while everybody else is focused on homes of $250,000 or more, I'm focused on building homes that's under $185,000. Now, I am fighting like crazy to get our appraised value where it needs to be, because I seen a home. I mean, when I tell you guys this home was a nothing burger, it was a nothing burger. I mean, it didn't even have a garage. It was like 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. They didn't have anything luxury in there. And they were asking $270,000 for this property. I'm like, and you mean to tell me I'm building 3 bedroom, 2 bath homes, 9-foot ceilings. We have garages, not carports, quartz countertops, custom cabinetry, and I can't get $185,000, and this house is literally right up the street, not even 5 miles away? That's why it's important for us to own our own communities, because we then determines the market value. But again, one person can't do it. The next thing in negotiation is boldness come from the identity you have in yourself, not approval of man. So you got to be confident with God, with who God made you to be. I can't be a Derek in this world. I would not be a good Derek. He cannot be a Terrica, because he would not be a good Terrica, right? My daughter cannot be me, and I cannot be her. We have to be true to our authentic self, who God made us to be. So my boldness makes room for me. My boldness opens doors for me. My boldness lets me know when I want to walk away from an opportunity. I was just in the middle of negotiating a $40+ million deal. And literally the terms was freaking horrible. Okay. Horrible. The seller wanted us to place a $2 million non-refundable escrow deposit with no contingencies. Now, what I wanted to tell that seller was, do I look like Willie Foo-Foo? But I did not. It was me and my other business partners on the phone. They can vouch for this story. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm not taking anything away from it. It was literally a standoff on the phone call. So they're saying that I wanted a financing contingency. I wanted an inspection contingency. I wanted a title contingency. They're telling me, no, we cannot give you those contingencies because this is a bankruptcy property and the judge won't allow it. But if you sign the way it is, then we'll go back and fight for you later if you need more time. So wait, you mean to tell me you want me to put $2 million down, non-refundable, and if I need more time for my inspection period, you want me to trust you, who works for the seller, you want me to trust you that you're going to go back to the bankruptcy courts and fight for us? Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. I said, no, no, we're not doing that. So he said, well, let me and my partner get off the line and we'll talk and discuss it with you and we'll come back with you. And then the other partner said, before we discuss anything, the $2 million is a non-negotiable. We'll figure out the other stuff, but the $2 million is a non-negotiable. I said, I'm not doing it. That's how it went. I was unapologetic, but my boldness was not of cockiness. My boldness was for the protection of my partner's money that we would hand over to them and make it non-refundable. That means that if this deal fall apart, they keep $2 million of your money. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a position where someone has the upper hand over me like that, because now what they can say is dance, and now I got to start dancing, move, and now I got to start moving, sit, and now I got to sit. So for me, I never want to be in that type of situation. I believe if an opportunity is meant for me to have, yes, negotiation is required. Yes, give and take is going to be required. But at no point am I going to sit and just take this and be like, okay, yeah, we're good with that because we really want this deal. Some of you are so emotionally attached to the deal that you can't think clearly. I am not emotionally attached to anything. Thanks to Hurricane Katrina that took everything from me in the whiff of a day. I am not emotionally attached to anything and or anyone. My focus is I live for the audience of one, God. I love my husband, but he won't take my attention off of God. I love my children, but they won't take my attention off of God. I love my career, but it won't take my attention off of God. God is first in my life. So because of that, I can speak with boldness. Because of that, I can walk away from a multi-million-dollar opportunity that would have made us hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but at what cost? I felt at that moment they're trying to get me to sell my soul to the devil. That was a horrible negotiation tactic. It was not a great win. It almost felt like how the tariffs went. Here, swallow this. And whatever you want to come back with, you can definitely come back with it. But as far as the United States of America, I'm charging you 50% tariffs. I'm charging you 14% tariffs. I'm charging you 29% tariffs. It was like, where do you pull these numbers from, right? Again, I don't want to be in a position where when someone say dance, I have to get out my seat and dance. And what if I don't feel like dancing? But that's a part of your negotiation. So if you a punk, okay, if you scary, if you don't like having challenging conversations, my recommendation for you is to go get with a partner who don't mind having that. Like for me, if we want to play good cop, bad cop, right? I'm probably the bad cop and Derek is probably the good cop. But don't get it twisted. That switch with D can switch at any point in time, especially when he feels like you lied on him and or you lied to him. There's no coming back from him switching. You are literally marked in his eyes, right? And so because of that, we understand what's required when it comes to negotiations. So one of the things I used to do when I became a real estate agent was I used to role play in the mirror. Now, the reason why I was so good at role playing was because when I was 17, I was selling magazines door to door, and I used to have to role play then. So role playing can look something along the lines of you just staring yourself in the mirror and just saying what you're going to say whenever they pick up the phone, visualizing the seller picking up your phone. But role playing helps you become a better negotiator because you don't overgive and you don't undergive, right? Negotiations, you got to know when to pause and not say anything. You see how awkward that was? That was just a second or two. But because people react so often without pausing, the person who speaks is probably going to be the one to overtalk. So you got to learn how to gauge those pauses, right? So when you role play how to pause. Hey, so I see, hey, Ms. Jones, I see that you have your property that's on 123 ABC Street. I don't see a for sale sign or anything like that, but I did do some research and I see that there's a lot of taxes on, and of course they have a few liens on your property. Were you aware of the liens and the taxes that's owed on your property? Well, no, I wasn't. I said, well, look, I can send this information over to you, or if you like, I can come over today or tomorrow at about 5:00 p.m. because what I'm interested in doing is acquiring this property. I can tell just from the looks of things that this has been a lot for you, right? Why am I saying right? Because then it's forcing them to agree with me. So I ask a yes question to get a yes response. When you start asking questions, they start loosening up. When they start agreeing, they really loosen up. Yes, how did you know? Oh my goodness, I've been trying to figure out how to get this property sold. I don't know the first thing about it. I keep getting all these notices. That's the seller talking to you. And here you come as the hero. Well, look, I have done quite a few of these properties. I definitely can help you walk through the steps. And what I would recommend is that the first thing you do is find a title attorney that can transfer these properties over out of your name whenever you do go to sell it. The reason why you want to hire that title attorney is because you want to make sure that, one, I'm not a scam artist, right? You want to make sure I am who I say I am. Now I'm giving them something to go vet about me, because I know what they're going to find out about me on the internet. So I want them to go look me up. The second thing is now you seem resourceful. As an expert negotiator who have handled hundreds of thousands of real estate transactions over the course of 20 years, I have literally learned that the more resourceful I am to a seller, the more interaction I get out of them. So when you're communicating with them from a standpoint of authority and not I'm asking them for a favor. Then you write down, what is your minimum deal terms, right? A lot of you just be throwing numbers out, you be spitballing, you don't have a minimum. What is your minimum deal terms? Write that down. So that way when you're negotiating, you don't go straight to your minimum. You kind of negotiate where you get as close as you possibly can, but not too close. See, having that in advance helps you negotiate a lot better. Make one low pressure ask this week, right? Meaning, pick up the phone. Expect to hear 100 no's. If you have a list of 1,000 people, expect to hear 100 no's. But the 101 may be a yes. You see, a lot of us quit before we get to the next season. A lot of us quit before we get to the next step because this season has been so discouraging. These steps I've taken up to this point has literally punched me in the face and has knocked me down in life. So because of these points, I don't want to get to the next step. I don't want to enter into the next season. I am tired and I'm burnt out. This is not the season to be tired. This is not the season to be burnt out. This is the season to pick your head up, adjust your crown, and know that if God is for you, who can be against you? No simply means next opportunity. Drop that in the chat right now. Next opportunity. Every time somebody tell me no, I'm headed to my next opportunity. A no today makes room for God, yes, tomorrow. A no today makes room for God's yes tomorrow. So are you willing to put in the work just with these few simple steps? I can dive deeper and deeper into the art of negotiation, but you probably should be in Protege. I have the link below. This is the kind of conversations we have whenever we're talking about real estate and the art of negotiation, right? There's so many more points I can cover, but for time's sake, I just want you to know that these are a few steps that you can take. But if you want to dive deeper and you want to be in a community with like-minded individuals who literally are negotiating deals and being told no on a daily basis, next opportunity, then you want to join our community. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Property Challenge podcast. I pray that this has added so much value to you and kind of gave you a different perspective of learning how to negotiate and knowing that a no does not mean that you're rejected. It just means that the opportunity is a no right now and you're headed to the next opportunity. And always remember, if God is with you, who can be against you? I'll see you guys next week on another episode of the Property Challenge podcast. I'm out.